All right, so today we are discussing the main challenges facing small businesses. So as we know with Geno's, there's a lot of stuff going on that can affect these guys and ladies out here running their own small businesses and family businesses. I think one of the things that I've noticed in that process so far has definitely been the bandwidth. The staff aren't necessarily prioritizing the business itself, and that's definitely shown with just their staffing, their upper management, kind of every level of the business. So I think limiting that bandwidth and prioritizing, delegating some of that stuff out would probably help them out.
Yeah, and one of the things that I wanted to touch upon was like their marketing and their market share. They operate mostly in malls, and so within malls, they're one of many. Like yeah, they have quite a few locations. I think it was 27. But in the grand scheme of things, like compared to like chains like McDonald's and Starbucks, like they're a small company comparatively.
And one of the challenges that I wanted to point out was the fact of competition. Um, there's so many other small and large businesses that are able to have a greater amount of resources, which can affect so many different things. It'll kind of touch on what Kevin was talking about earlier in regards to staffing, getting qualified staff to be able to pay them competitive pay. That's a challenge of small businesses. Also, depending on the industry, it can be saturated with other similar businesses, all affecting a small business a bit more than it would a larger company.
Yeah, Michelle, I really think you nailed it. I think a lot of it is kind of affects decision making with the rationality. Um, small business, small decisions that really affects the livelihood of the whole organization that you're trying to run here, as opposed to big corporations who have vast resources. We have to make a decision on how we're spending the little money that we have, where that might not be that big of an issue for some of the bigger corporations.
We'll try to get to this next slide here. We can discuss. So is Geno's a small business? Do we consider this to be a small business based on what we've seen and read? I mean, I
So,
definitely say, yeah, I know they have 27 store locations, but I think it's small or on the cusp based on this definition here by SBA. But I haven't seen the
mhm.
actual annual receipts. I know we have the net loss, but we don't necessarily know how much they actually sell. So yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, for all intents and purposes, I think it's a small business. From what we've seen so far, it doesn't seem to be a good small business.
They're
Es-
struggling a bit.
Especially the fact that it's like owner operated, all of the family are within the business. They even use business funds for like their cars and their houses and things like that. So I definitely feel like it leans more towards a family or small business.
Yeah, I would agree, especially when you think of the culture. Typically, small businesses have that like family type culture, and they seem to have that not just because they are a family business, but they seem to be very close knit.
All right, and then going a little bit more into analyzing the case about Geno's. One of the things I feel are definitely just like right off the bat, you have to adjust is the stores are way too big. You have no customers in there, but you have a giant store with 150 tables. There's not that's not something that you want to be doing because wasted space is wasted money. So overstaffing, you
Mhm.
have 8 staff in there kind of standing around twiddling their thumbs, and then adjusting those operation hours. If you're open 12 hours a day with nobody in the building, you're just throwing money out the door.
And speaking on staff, it just reminds me of the challenges that we discussed as far as competition. Small businesses like Geno's, their staff doesn't seem to be very knowledgeable. So maybe if they had more resources to be able to pay a higher wage, they would get people who were there to really work and to be able to provide the customer service that typically small businesses offer, like a more increased level of customer service, which Geno's unfortunately is like really lacking. As you mentioned, wasteful spending with the amount of space, their lavish salaries of upper management
Hmm.
also fall in that as well.
I think if we were to look at some bigger industries, some companies like fast food chains that might be a franchise, you see a lot of them have specific trainings, and they're all kind of cookie cutter in a way that they all mimic each other and the same principles and operating and SOPs and stuff like that. And from what I've gathered about this Gino's business is they're all kind of independent and they aren't following the same type of mold or set of standards as all the other locations or all the other people. So it's almost like 27 small businesses.
Yeah, they're also
Everyone's just doing their
having
own
to,
thing.
yeah, they're also having to handle like a large menu, and so having that many items on hand of like raw materials can be challenging. Um, but one thing I noticed is that they said that like the employees enjoy their work, like they feel like they're paid fairly. So like there's definitely some pros to what Gino's got going on, but in the video, it also did say that there were family issues between like Cindy and the siblings and the employees and the family members, which could definitely pose like a really big problem down the line if that's not addressed.
Yeah, Michelle, I think that's a good point. Some of the employees are saying that the pay is good. From what we saw in this last week's video, the pay is really good, or maybe too good. That's either a pro or a con, depending on who you're looking at. Some of these people, I don't know where they are getting their money or what people are having the issues with. Cindy seems like the only one who went to business school. Um, should have a little bit of say in how uh, things have gotten this bad.
Yeah, maybe we'll
I wanted
find
to
out next week.
And I just wanted to piggyback off of something Eric said earlier, which was really interesting, in regards to the like standard operating procedures and trainings. That is something else that small businesses usually don't always have the opportunity to invest in developing their talent. And as you stated, we can definitely see how that's not working for them here because everyone's kind of doing their own thing instead of working cohesively. I think that was a great point.
Yeah, absolutely. Kind of going back to what I previously said, a lot of these fast food establishments or franchises, they're all kind of in the same type of layout, the same location, everything kind of, you walk into a Walmart, you know exactly where you need to go. You know, you need to go to the electronics, they're all the way in the back of the store. Stuff like that, where it seems you walk into Gino's and you have to walk all the way across the store. You have to hop over 3 toddlers, and now you're at the pastries, which doesn't make any sense because if we want people to see our pastries, they should be able to see them from the street or walking by.
A great point. All right, let's wrap it up.